10 p.m. in Accra. Thanks so much for staying there for us on NEWSAT10. From now to 10:30, we'll take you through a world of news, both local and on international. For you can be part of the conversation because our social media platforms are well activated. Go there, post your comments there, we'll read them. My name is Bright Nana. For now, first, let's take a look at some news on our network. Medical officers in government health facilities have expressed grave concern over the disparity in conditions of service. Top on their grievance list are reduced pension benefits following their migration onto the single spine pay policy and unpaid conversion difference since December 2011. Another contentious issue is their uncovered medical expenses, although they are part of the essential service providers. We'll tell you more about that later on. A non-governmental, environmental non-governmental NGO, Arocha Ghana, has warned of the social and environmental consequences should government go ahead to mine bauxite in the Etiwa Forest Reserve. Deputy Director Daryl Bosu says it does not make economic sense for government to mine the low-grade bauxite in the Etiwa Forest compared to deposits in other parts of the country. They are asking government to stay away from the Etiwa Forest. Meanwhile, traders along the Ashaiman traffic light stretch in Accra continue to sell on the streets despite a directive by the Municipal Assembly to stop them following an accident which claimed one life and injured 6 others. The news team visited the area and is reporting that these traders are still there. Our government is determined to secure about 285 million cedis from August to December 2018, following the approval of some revised taxes in the media budget review by Parliament. These revised tax measures by the Finance Ministry is expected to be implemented from August 1, 2018. If you're watching us from Bongo in the Upper East region, if you're with us from Wa in the Upper West region, we are grateful for your time. This is NEWSAT10. This is our first story, beginning from the student front. Now, pressure is mounting on the Ghana General Legal Council to investigate the circumstance under which some examination questions of the Ghana School of Law entrance exams were leaked to some students. Ahead of the writing of the examination, the compulsory question and a marking scheme were circulated among some students, especially those who wrote the paper at the new N block and the central cafeteria of the University of Ghana last Friday. US-based Ghanaian lawyer Professor Kweku Asare and Director of Mount Crest University College, Kweku Ansa Asare, have both called for the cancellation of the results and the scrapping of the General Legal Council. Let's listen to Kweku Ansa Asare, who spoke on News 360.
What I'd like to tell listeners is that this is something that the whole nation, must get involved in the conversation. It is a huge embarrassment and very shameful that the next generation of lawyers, the next generation of judges are being corrupted even before they enter the law school. I'm surprised that between Friday and as we speak, the General Legal Council, having deemed it desirable, to cancel the paper, they are waiting for pressure to be mounted on them before they do what is needful. I think that if you consider the fact that the compulsory question was about corruption and students had to adopt corrupt practices in order to get the question, the answer, and the marking scheme, and it hasn't pricked anybody's conscience that this is something that shouldn't have happened, and if it has happened, the students should not be made to profit from this wrongdoing. They are waiting, for people to call them names. I'll once again call on the Chief Justice in the interest of fair play, in the interest of the future of the administration of justice, and realizing that we are toying with the lives of the next generation of members of the legal profession to take the bold step of cancelling the paper, because one of the cardinal principles of legal education when we teach our students is that no one should be made to profit from his own or her own wrongdoing. This is one such instance. And I'm surprised.
Yeah.
It's very ironical, that this thing, you write about corruption, you corrupt the past in order to answer the question on corruption.
Whilst we wait for the General Legal Council to take action, what should concerned students do? I mean, students who took part in the exams and did not get part of this leaked paper.
Students are beneficiaries of the spoil system. And therefore, students, like Kwekwe said yesterday, we shouldn't blame the students. But even though I will not blame the students, students must be told that if they love this nation, they must speak against it. They should not, sit down in silence and expect that the General Legal Council, will do what is right. We all know that what has happened is a national shame.
All right, so let's stay on this issue. Really a disturbing one. My guest is a member of the Law Students Union, Ghana, and is also a concerned LLB student. Sam Lai is with me. Good evening, Sam. Grateful you're with us. Right. So, law students are not happy.
Certainly, we are not happy. Certainly, we are not happy with what seemed to be a very competitive exams. And then you go study for the exams, and then few minutes after the exams, what you felt it was a fair exam that you have gone to write, then the papers are leaked to grant some undue advantage to some students against others.
So some students got it, not all students.
Certainly, I didn't get it. So once I didn't get it, and I believe a couple of others didn't also get it, then it means that not all students got it. A few section of the students are the ones who benefited from the leaked paper.
Okay, we'll come to talk about the cause for scrapping of the legal council and the examination body and stuff like that. But let me stay on the student. How come we are here? Examination leakage at the law school? I never thought of that. It is possible.
Well, for once, I also never thought of that, that we could get to that point where an examination that is being conducted by a professional body like the GLC could be leaked that way. And the exams did not just leak, the questions did not just leak, but it was leaked together with the marking scheme and the answers to the very question. And that is what we find very much worrying. That is what we find very much worrying.
Who do we blame?
Well, in this regard, I think the GLC should be blamed for this, and the independent examination body, because they are the people who are the helm of affairs. So if you go for such a competitive exams, and at the end of the day, the papers are leaked, and then to grant undue advantage to some students against others, we put the blame squarely on the people in charge. Unless they come out and tell us probably they have conducted some form of investigation, and then it's not coming from them. But the truth is that they are the people who are in charge.
Right.
So the question we keep asking ourselves is, who leaked the papers? Because I so much remember in the very exams hall that I took my exams, that is the GCB hall, before the exams began, they came out with the bag in which the question papers have been kept, and then they show it to all of us.
With a seal.
With a seal. Look at it, untouched. So how come we finish the exams, and at the end of the day, some students got the questions and others didn't get it? I don't think it's so fair.
Okay. Now, the cause to scrap the legal council and deal with the examination body, is that a solution?
Well, that's one of the solutions that we are proposing. That we think probably the legal council might have outlived its usefulness, for which reason we have to scrap it off and then look at a better examination body that will be more, that will not be too much biased, and then they will be more professional in their approach to as far as the conduct of legal education is concerned in Ghana.
I see. So for instance, an examination body like WAEC, is that what you're looking at?
Well, no, we are trying to suggest that probably we should model legal education in Ghana to, say, ACCA. That's also a professional body, so that people could go and do their professional training, but then the exams, you could go and do your professional training in some other faculties, not necessarily in the Ghana Law School.
Right.
So that the Ghana Law School will become kind of a coordinating body, like the ACC, where you have to then go and write their exam, pass, and then become a full lawyer, a practicing lawyer to be called to the bar.
So that's a total overhaul of the system.
Sure.
So that's the first proposal. What is the other one?
The other one is the call for them to also consider some other faculties to do the professional course, because I believe an institution like University of Ghana is rightly placed to do the professional course. Once JIMPA is doing it, why can't KUSA is doing it? Why can't University of Ghana do it? Central, I think they are up to the tax. I think Central University is up to the tax. University of Ghana is up to the tax. UCC is also there. So some of the faculties who are running the LLB, I think they have.
So they're given a chance to do the professional course.
Yeah, sure.
Do you buy the argument of maintaining quality and so leave it to the Ghana Law School of Law?
You see, that is one argument I find it difficult to buy into. That when a lot more students are admitted to the law school, or when we open the floodgate, it's going to compromise quality. I believe practicing law is done in a court.
Right.
And there are better lawyers there. So allow the student to come in, allow them to read their course, and then allow them to pass their examination. But to be a best lawyer is out there on the field. So I don't think, and all clients are looking for quality.
Right.
So it is out there as a lawyer practicing, that is where you will demonstrate your quality, and then people will come after you.
The petition to the Chief Justice, has it been done, or when will it be done?
Hopefully by tomorrow the petition should get to the Chief
So all
Justice.
these concerns are within the petition?
Yeah, tomorrow we will be having a press conference, after which we will file the petition to the Chief Justice.
And all these concerns and the proposals from the body will be in there.
Very well.
To get the Chief Justice to listen to.
Very well.
And the hope is that some change would happen.
Certainly.
Samuel, I'm grateful for your time. Sam Lai is a member of the Law Students Union Ghana. He is also a concerned LLB student. There's more of this on 3 News. Sam, have a good night. We'll see you some other time. We'll be there at the press conference. Stay with us. Well, we'll come back. There's more on the show. All right, now time for us to take a look at the energy sector. Now, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has, by executive order, approved the renegotiated Ameri deal, which is currently awaiting parliamentary approval. Was told by a statement from the presidency and signed by the President's Secretary, Nana Asante Bedieto, that the President of the Republic of Ghana has granted executive approval for the innovation and amendment. We also told that the agreement dated July 20, 2018 between the government of the Republic of Ghana and represented by the Minister for Energy or his authorized representative, the Volta River Authority, that's the VRA Africa, and Middle East Resource Investment Group, that's the Ameri Energy Group, Ameri Energy Power Equipment Trading, and then the power project Senai Insat Tekanet Limited, Sekati PPR, and Miscellaneous International Trading Company AG for operations and maintenance of the existing 250 megawatt Ameri thermal plant at Abuadze for a period of 15 years. We are told that the executive order comes amid a growing number of groups and individuals who have slammed the government over the deal that has been renegotiated. let's take a look at this. Some confusion with this thing. My guest is a research analyst at the Institute for Energy Studies, Security Studies. Mikdad Mohammed is here. Grateful for your time. Energy Security, Institute for Energy Security. Now, so the concerns were that stop this deal and take another look at it. Now the president has agreed. What does it mean?
Well, what the president has done is to give the minister or the ministry the go-ahead to forward the document, which is the agreement, as it were,
right,
to the Joint Committee of Finance and then Mines and Energy. But it is not cast in stone.
It is not an end in itself.
It's not an end in itself.
Okay.
We are giving the president the benefit of the doubt. We want to believe that the president was not giving the full picture of the agreement as it is, as we have seen it, as we have analyzed and computed the figures. And we believe that given the opportunity, the right things can be done. We recall there was a budget that came from the executive to parliament concerning a website figure of 800,000.
Right.
I mean, it was corrected. All of these arguments we have made against this Ameri deal has been contingent on the fact that the cost, which we have always maintained, was supposed to come down, has rather been shot up with this renegotiated agreement.
Right.
If, for example, you go buy a phone at 100 Ghana cedis, and then the person who sent you tells you that, look, this 100 cedis phone is costly, go for renegotiation. When you go for renegotiation, do you come back with extra cost or you beat down the cost? You beat down the cost. And right from February 2015, when we discussed Ameri, it has been about cost. And those times, IES, ASEP, Imani, and we were joined by the then opposition to trumpet the fact that there should be value for money when you sit down to negotiate on behalf of the people of Ghana.
$510 million.
At $510 million.
Okay.
And not only were we talking about it, when government came in, they outdoored a committee led by the respected lawyer Philip Addison, a 70-member committee who visited Ameri. They went to power project Sanai in Turkey, in Dubai. They met past government officials and discussed the deal and concluded that we could have gotten a better deal at $360 million. So at IES, we thought that when government talks about renegotiation, it's a renegotiation that will see us beat down the cost to 360, not one that innovates the agreement by bringing in Mytilinos International Trading Company and a situation which is not transparent.
We're not sure of even that company.
Even that
we're told that it's the same company that was running the previous deal.
It is. We don't have evidence for that,
but there's a
at the
suspicion.
moment. But there's that suspicion.
Okay.
And also the fact that, you see, by the end of the fifth year, Ghana is owning the power plants, and then as part of the original agreement, and this part has not been trumpeted enough. As part of the original agreement, Ameri was supposed to carry along VRA technicians and train them as part of the process, so that by the fifth year, when we own the plants, Ameri can leave and VRA technicians will take over. Unless VRA technicians prove that they are unable to run the facility, we can now enter into an agreement to procure the services of someone to operate and manage and maintain the power plants for us. And also, one context must be very clear. We procure the plants under emergency. We are no longer under emergency. Amandi is coming by December with 190 megawatts. Senate is coming. Early Power is coming with 390 megawatts. VRA, don't take our words for it. They have called us intransigent mischief makers, and we are misinforming the public. Don't take our words for it. Go to the VRA. The VRA itself, we are aware by a letter of 11th July 2018, a letter from the Chief Executive to the Ministry of Energy, recommending, after an economic analysis, and they call it a seem-through.
Right.
They compared scenarios. First scenario, government buying out Ameri. Second scenario, government contracting a new company to take up and spread the cost over a 10-year period. Third scenario, government contracting a new company, spread the cost over a 15-year period. Another scenario, government going to borrow to pay off Ameri and pay off that loan in 10 years.
Right.
And after all of this analysis, VRA, and don't forget, VRA is a partner of government in this agreement. In fact, in August 2016, 17th August 2016, government signed an assignment agreement where it transferred its liability in the Ameri agreement as government to VRA. So when VRA undergoes this financial analysis and concludes that of all of these scenarios, we are advising you, the Ministry of Energy, to maintain the existing agreement, because even though we have had questions about value for money on that deal, it remains the most valid deal that we can save money on. But yet still, we had a deal in Parliament, and that deal to, when you look at the capital recovery charges that VRA used in its computation of their charges, it has suddenly shot up in the agreement which emerged in Parliament. That is why IES is saying that this agreement is an insult to due diligence. It's an insult to value for money analysis. And when we say something yesterday and we wake up and to be the ones in power, we must hold ourselves by the words we used yesterday.
So the talk about saving Ghana 400 million cedis, the talk about the fact that the cost of electricity has been beaten down compared to the first agreement. It's not something that...
Well, all of that claim,
right?
Unfortunately, I would have to be blunt. It is inaccurate. It is misleading falsehood.
I see.
Now, if you are talking about beating down electricity costs, which body is
We're
responsible
told
for regulating
14
the body?
to 9, 11 cents, 11 cents a kilowatt.
I heard the spokesperson for the Ministry of Energy, and I would like to believe he represents the position of the ministry.
Right.
He has said that electricity cost is going down by some 30% and all that. Look, the body in Ghana which is responsible for regulating the computation of tariffs is the PURC, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, but they were not even involved in this transaction. So on what basis will someone come tell us, between PURC and the spokesperson of the Energy Ministry, whose figures we are questioning, who should we believe? We would rather go with the PURC, whose approval was not sought for this. Now, on the cost saving,
quickly. Indeed,
for the first 2.5 years, if government had only committed us to miscellaneous agreement for only the 2.5 years remaining in this agreement, we will applaud government for that. Already we applauded government for that very good concession in the ECD privatization, beating back the previous government's 20% to 51% local content. We applauded them. So we were expecting them to do something similar. So if it were only for the first 2.5 years remaining in the Ameri deal, we would have a good deal because the cost is down. But we are committing ourselves into a deal which commits us to pay $75 million yearly.
For 15 years.
For 15 years.
That's where the worry is.
To miscellaneous. And if you permit me, and you have a calculator, I can give you the cost, you can multiply, and then you hit up the price. Now, the capital recovery, which wouldn't have been paying after the 5th year if it were Ameri, you multiply the capital recovery of $3.068 dollars. This one is not cents. This one is dollars.
It's dollars.
Dollars per kilowatts per hour. You multiply it by the number of hours of 8,670 hours, which is the number of hours in a year, 364 days. You multiply that by the time, let's say the time period. So let's say you give it some 1 month, for example. Then you take the power generation. In this case, we use 90% power generation. You multiply by that. You end up having an amount of 6 million every month. You multiply 6 million by 12.
I see.
And that is 72 million. And then auxiliary costs push the amount to $75 million, as confirmed by the minister when he met the committee.
Let's wrap up. So these documents that the president's approval means that the minister can now get those documents. What can we do to change this agreement, to get government to stop it?
Well, the reason why government entered this agreement, to be fair to government, is that there is no money to pay Ameri.
Okay.
The circumstances under which we procured the Ameri deal in 2015, we were in crisis, and we had to solve the problem. But now there is no money. If there is no money and you want to withdraw from the commitment, we must do it with value for money considerations. Okay. We are not against government of Ghana renegotiating and even bringing 10 parties into the agreement. The only thing we are saying is that even if you are bringing 100 million people into the contract, make sure that when you tell us the costs, it is reasonable, in line with the discussion we have had from the past.
Migdad, I'm grateful. I'm sure we'll continue this discussion here. Migdad Mohammed is a research analyst with the Institute for Energy Security. Certainly we'll be continuing the conversation. Good night, and thanks for joining us. Now, let's wrap up the conversation here. The Ghana National Canoe Fishermen Council is demanding an unqualified apology from the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Elizabeth Afole-Kwe, for asking them to collect plastic waste from the beaches as an alternative livelihood during the contentious closed fishing season. The council view the minister's comment as insulting and disrespectful.
There's a publication that fishermen, for us to survive this 1 month, we should go and pick plastic waste from the beaches. For us, we find it very insulting, because if we should use about 500,000 Ghana cedis, 200,000 Ghana cedis, 300,000 Ghana cedis to come up with a business like that and employ people. If you ask us that we should beach our canoes and go and pick up plastic waste, for us we see it as very offensive, very insulting, very degrading. And again, it is a clear sign that the Honourable Minister has lost touch with her fishermen. Yes, of course, ever since she became the minister, she has never engaged us as the artisanal fishers of the country. And because she doesn't even know our worth, because she hasn't even engaged us, yes, of course, she can easily tell us to go pick plastic waste to earn a living. We find it very, very unfortunate. A statement that is very, very unfortunate and very offensive. And in actual fact, we should let the whole public know that we are very, very angry. Very, very, very angry. She should come out with an unqualified apology.
The fishermen really angry there. And that's how we wrapping up the conversation, but not with anger. We're asking you to have a very good night. And of course, those of you who stayed with us, we're grateful to my team in here, Stephen Neti, Christopher Soa, Manas Stark, Joseph Moncho, and of course, Bright Ahiadeke and Ebenezer Tete. Of course, Hanel Adapter was the assistant producer. And of course, the show was put together by Komla Kluche, studio director Richard Bruce Lamptey. My name is Bright Nananfo. Have a great night, but stay right here on TV3. Good night.